Hid for a few weeks before it came to me. I had to choose my heart, heal and get free. She said life's easy, pain comes with living. Surround myself with everything God's given. It's time to change my routine, create a new scene that feels like an unreachable dream.
Good morning and happy 2026, everyone. You are watching Mentally How Are You? And I am your host, Neena Lock, here to discuss all things mental healing. We have officially advanced into another year, and I hope this is the one in which you choose to focus on your mental well-being and growth. With it being a new year, we are now in this common phase of making resolutions, or not. I know some people no longer believe in doing that, or creating goals and focusing on how to move forward better than we've done in the past. With that being said, today we are going to review the best ways to create goals and how to accomplish them. Clinically speaking, making New Year's goals and resolutions is beneficial for positive change, if done realistically. I know many people have drifted away from making these resolutions as it has become kind of cliche to help stay away from the cliche and accomplish what you set out to complete. Today, I'm going to provide you with some tips to get you moving forward. To start, it would be wise to review your previous achievements in areas that require more discipline. I like to review the past year with clients and then begin the planning process. Before doing that, there are at least 3 questions I have a client answer. These are things you should ask yourself regarding the previous year before planning the new one, right? Because you kind of need to review your foundation and your base before going forward. So these questions include: 1, what were your top 3 lessons learned in 2025? So what is it that you gathered? What is it that, came to you, even if it was a lesson that you weren't trying to learn, if it was by force, or if it was something you sought out, something that you just received, maybe some words of wisdom from individuals you didn't expect it from. Whatever it may be, list out your top 3 lessons learned. Of course, you can list out more, but at least have 3. The second question is, what was the biggest message that you gave, or what impact did you make? What did you leave with people? What did you give that year, 2025? What did you leave there and it had an influence over others? And not just an influence in, let's say, lacking substance, but something that really gave to others that they can now recycle and use, and it can be passed along. And if you can say to yourself, well, I didn't even think in that way, I wouldn't even think about making an impact, then maybe ask yourself, do I want to make one in this new year? And lastly, the third question is, who are you? Being able to answer who you are, being able to know where you are rooted, where you're grounded, will help you moving forward in your mental health journey. If you can answer that question, you can find the solution to anything you may face psychologically or mentally. Answering these questions will build a foundation for your new year. And like I said, it'll help you move forward, but it'll also build a foundation for the rest of your life. With the base set, the next best step is to establish your routine and schedules. We reviewed this in our last episode, but I'm going to review it a little bit more. Begin with your routine. This gives your days order and structure. A routine is a fixed program. It's a sequence of actions that we regularly follow. I always tell clients your routine never changes, even if you go on vacation. Think of it as your opening and your closing scene for the day. It's your intro and your outro, right? This can look like waking at the same time every morning, completing a workout or a morning jog, completing hygiene, and then having breakfast. Maybe for the evening, you read a book. Let's say you stretch or go for a walk, you complete hygiene and get in the bed at the same time every night. Your routine consists of your waking and sleeping cycles. Some people add a noonday routine, like something that they do in the middle of the day. That's fine as well, but be sure to have your wake and sleep cycles be where you have the main routine, because again, this is foundational. It is the consistency that we need every day that creates rhythm for our lives and sets the stage for our schedules. Now, your schedule is a plan to carry out your day, your week, or month with intended events at set times. This is your detailed time-based plan that that offer structure for each day. So an example would be I completed my morning routine today and came to the studio at a specific call time to begin live filming at 11 a.m. After this, I'll have a meeting that's set again at a specific time, and this is my Friday schedule. This is how you move through each day and maintain the time, maintaining the time will help you complete tasks thoroughly. Now, once you have your routine and your schedule complete, you can get into your establishing goals. Before breaking your goals down into those categories that we like to go into, I like to tell people to initiate big picture goals. The big picture gives your life direction. It states how you want to live and what you want to do overall. These are those vague or broad goals such as travel, buy a home, start a business, etc., right? It's those big goals that can seem difficult to achieve, but they will occur after taking small steps. Once the big picture is complete, now is when you step into categories. I like to tell individuals to stick to 4 to 6 categories concerning areas of importance, meaning things like finances, career, family, health, passion, right? The reason why I'm telling you to stick to 4 to 6 categories is because the more you write out, the more your brain has to function, the more it has to process, the more it has to get through each category. And when you have so many things laid in front of you, you can already set a defeat in your mind, like a defeatist mindset. So it would be good to structure it very healthily where it's just 4 to 6 categories. Normally, when we think about the things that we want to do, they fall somewhere in the categories that I named, right? That career, that family, that health, finances, everything you want to do falls into those main categories anyhow. So try to limit it and bring it all together. I also like to point out for you to focus on what you need to do in each category to achieve your big picture goals. So you start with this wide screen, this big picture, and then you break it down into categories of how you can get the big things. Then you move forward in the small steps that you need to take, and you're kind of building this pyramid for yourself that you're completing. An example would be, let's say your big picture goal is that you want to travel to 3 different states this year and go out of the country once. I'm making it huge for you guys, right? That would mean a category you need to focus on is what? Ding, 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 ding. Your finances. You need money to travel. So let's look at your finances. Start with vital questions for yourself before making the goals. In an area like finances, you would ask, do I have debt to pay off? Do I have money saved? Am I disciplined with my money? Right? Once you answer key questions, you can then create the goals. I highly recommend forming small goals per quarter for each category, meaning we're now in January. So January to March is the first quarter of the year, right? So you're going to say, for my finances from January to March, I'm going to focus on one thing. And then from April to June, I'm going to focus on another thing. I'm still completing goals in my financial category, but I'm breaking it down in the year so that I don't just see this big plan that I need to complete that, again, overwhelms me. Sticking with finances, with that category, I'll give you a deeper example. Determine what debt you can pay off in the initial 3 months of the year. Then move to saving and purchasing in the next 3 months of the year, and so forth, right? Some of the main focuses when creating your goals should be breaking down big goals, focusing on small, specific, and achievable steps rather than vague resolutions. So instead of lose weight or even saying, let me lose 30 pounds, why is it always 30? Aim for walking for 1 hour every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Next, remove the no's. I need this to be clear. So I want you to start with those small categories, like I said, and then make your goals, list them out per quarter if you can. I always tell people within your category, so let's say I have finances here and I have health here, list 3 for the months of January to March. try not to go over too many. You don't want to stack your mind up with so much that you have to do. That's the point of writing out these goals. You already have so much that you're overthinking or these racing thoughts that won't stop. So when you're writing out your plan, you want it to be very structured. You want the visualization to be motivating and promoting to you rather than looking like just this long list that you have to complete, right? So break it down to where for the 3 quarters in the year that you don't need to pay attention to right now, you've written out the goals, but we're just going to focus from January to March right now. January to March is saying that I'm going to save money. I'm staying inside. I'm not going to spend. I'm going to eat at home, and I'm going to save this amount of money within, these 3 months. And then you'll move forward once April hits. Okay, now let me get into these April goals that I wrote out. That's the focus, breaking it down into small steps. Like I said, I wanted to make this clear because I need to make the next point very clear, which is for you to remove the no's. Try to stay away from the list of no's, such as no sweets, no soda, no snacks, no this, no that. You are inflicting social rejection on yourself when you consistently have a list of no's. The brain processes social pain and physical pain in a similar manner. So, by example, imagine being consistently punched in the side. It will bring wear and tear to your body and begin to weaken you physically. You are doing the same thing to your brain when you train it to accept nonstop no's. This experience can damage self-esteem and increase stress. So instead, write out and focus on what you will do and what you want to see. Instead of no sweets and no soda, maybe write out increased water intake for healthier skin and more energy. Instead of no spending, I'm not going to spend any money, complete weekly checks and balance logs for savings. Follow through or watch a video on investing when thinking of spending. It's very important to see this visually in a strong manner so that you're not rejecting yourself. This is why I've also titled this vision writing, right? We're focusing on purpose planning, but also vision writing, because you have to visualize where you want to be and how you want to live in order to plan for it. Visualize and focus on the steps to take to complete the work of art of you. Okay? So remove all those no's. If you already started this process and you have a bunch of no's listed out, no this, no that, no here, no there, remove it and replace it with what you are going to do, which also serves as a constant reminder and motivation to complete your goals. And then when you check it off the list, you see that you actually did something, and you'll see, oh, you know what? I didn't have to write out no sweets because I haven't even had any. Anyway, I wasn't thinking about it because I wasn't consistently looking at it and being told no. I was looking at how much water I'm taking in. So avoid the no's. Also, be open to pivot. Perfect example is if you decide to pay off debt for the first quarter, but that goes wrong. Let's say something comes up, there's a financial emergency, and you are not in a space where you can pay off things. You can just pay your regular bills. Then switch to what you plan to do in the next quarter. So if your first quarter said, I'm going to pay off debt, and your second quarter said you're going to save, then switch it. Just flip the two, such as saving instead of paying off the debt. Okay? Another thing I want you to focus on is process, not just outcome. Commit to the action. So that's, daily reading, rather than just the end result. As you control the process more and the process gets you to the end result, which is the big picture. So you are in control of what you are doing and how you are moving daily, what you're doing every minute of the day. That's what you're in control of, right? That big picture is what you're getting to, but you have to take these small steps in order to get to the big picture. I had to take small steps into the studio in order to sit at this desk, in order to sit in front of this camera. If I move past those steps, then I wouldn't be here right now. So focus on those small steps and then be willing to pivot. When you organize and establish goals, you're building habits. So quick wins with small goals release dopamine, reinforcing the habit and motivation. This keeps you moving forward. Okay, you're going to keep moving forward if you're motivated. If you begin to become drained and overwhelmed, or everything looks all consuming or too much, then this is how we step away from our goals or fail at them. I'm saying fail because there's no failing. It's just that you can have a slip up and you get to start over because these are your goals. Okay. I also want to point out that it is vital that you track your progress. Many have moved away from daily planners in which you write out expectations, but this may be the perfect time to get back into writing it out, seeing it daily, taking the planner with you, and checking accomplishments as completed. So write these things out. Connect to values, goals tied to your core values like family, faith, honesty, and more. They're meaningful to you. It's something that's sustaining to you, right? So connect to something that actually means something. If you know what, I'm not concerned about a career because I'm an entrepreneur and I would rather title this category entrepreneur, then write that out because that's what makes sense to you. Be honest to who you are so that you can achieve real goals. Don't mimic what you saw somebody else do and you thought it was a great idea on TikTok, so now you're going to also try to do that as well. That's for them, right? You can use their strategy, but don't mimic what they are doing because it has to be something that is true to you and what you want to do. Another note is to use tools. A journal helps you track progress and recover from slip-ups. Listening to, let's say, 2 main teachers on specific subjects helps, instead of listening to everybody on the broad conversation. A tool like color-coordinated markers works for some people. Whatever your tool may be, use them. Watch the videos, write things out, use a planner, like I said. Whatever tool will help you in maintaining and accomplishing these goals, then use those tools so that you can continue to move forward. Lastly, I would like to point out, when writing out your goals, focus on balance. There are 3 elements needed to establish balance, and that is the ability to prioritize. This protects you from doing everything all at once, which removes anxiety and being overwhelmed. The next one is focus on what is important and needed currently, and to double check, right? Ask yourself, can I control in this area? If I cannot, then that means I need to surrender it to where it can be controlled, and I need to focus on what I can control. A lot of our mental health concerns come out of us trying to control things that are not within our control, not within our reach, have nothing to do with us. We can do nothing about, right? Focus on what you can control. Next, I would say the ability to organize. This gives you the right sequence for events. So when you organize things, notice that I'm saying write it out. I'm not telling you to put it in your phone. I'm not telling you to use your phone's calendar or another device. I'm saying write it out because when we write it out, one, that's putting you in control as well. You are actually physically using the pen or pencil. You're physically using the paper in front of you. You're taking your time and writing this out. And now what you can do is you can set it up however you see fit right in front of you, right? So I can put all these papers, I can organize them the way that I want them to be. That will help me. I can wake up each morning and check this one. Okay, I did that. That means I'm improving here. And now I'm getting closer and closer to what I put over here. So write it out where you know you are going to see it. If you don't go into your phone's calendar all the time, every day, then don't put it in there. Right? If you don't go into your notes app all the time, if you will forget about it because you'll end up scrolling if you open your phone, then don't put it in there. Put it somewhere where you can write it down yourself. You see your handwriting. You can hang it up in your household, in your vehicle, and you get to walk past it each day. This serves as a reminder. This keeps you set on what your goal is. This is organizing. So having the ability to organize creates balance for you. Lastly, I would say the self-discipline is very much needed. This is the way to accomplish anything and everything in life. You must hone in on self-discipline. If this is an area that is difficult for you, then I would say to meet with a clinician so that they can help you out with that. Moving on to Pop Psych versus Clinical Psychology Goals Edition. Some common myths about New Year's resolution include, first, that they must work. As people move forward and just believing this has to work, this has to be it. If this doesn't work, then it means that I'm a failure and that I won't be able to move forward, or I can't do the things I want to do. They work if planned well, like specifically written out, like I just said, right? So your goals, you can accomplish them. Your resolutions do work if you plan well for them. Another myth, it only requires willpower. If only that were true. Remember what I said about habit building. You need habit building. You need habit building over brute force. That's what I was trying to say. You need habit building over brute force. Just saying, I'm going to do it. Yay, hoorah, we're going to get to it. That's great and motivational and powerful, but you still need to engage in habits that will help you accomplish the goal. Another myth I've heard is that failing early means total failure. Remember, I said that there's no such thing as failing when you're setting your own goals, but there are setbacks. And remember that setbacks are normal, but these require self-compassion and focusing on progress and not perfection. See them as a chance to reset versus now I'm just done. I get to throw it away. You know what? I already messed up. It's January 9th and it's 9 days into the new year and I haven't done what I said I was going to do. So I may as well just let go of all of these goals and these plans. No, you can wake up on January 10th and start the process again. Just start over. It's okay to start over. Okay? Fourth and last myth is that new year, new me. Okay, this isn't a myth, but I chuckle when people say it only because a new year doesn't just mean a new you, right? Reach for a growing you. There's no such thing as a new you. There's a you that is grown. This is why mental health matters. Can I challenge you all to see that you are who you are? You have been made uniquely you. And as you grow, you shed old versions, you shed old habits, old unhealthy responses and actions and more. There's no need for a new you, and a new you isn't instant anyway. True change takes time. So it's not just a date that's going to change you. There is no need for a new you, but for you to allow yourself to blossom into whom you've always been, the healthy version of you, the healthy you focused on continued growth and development. So just because it is a new year, it doesn't mean it's a new you, but it is a you that is searching and seeking for that healed individual because you can get there. Okay? Now for our mentally how are you question today, this one I had to print out today. It reads, "Hi Neena, my name is Samantha. I am engaged in your show as much as I can be. I have recently began going to therapy again. However, I'm having an issue. A previous therapist told me that I should not be focused on a diagnosis. And now the current therapist is telling me the same. I've heard you say this on your show as well, but I thought the whole point for mental health concerns was that we receive the diagnosis and then begin to work on that diagnosis. Help me understand what the difference is and where the problem is with receiving a diagnosis." Okay. There's not a problem with receiving a diagnosis. The diagnosis is more for the clinician than it is for the individual sitting in front of them. I think I've said before, you're mentioning that I've talked about this too. I've said before that we need to remove ourselves from being labeled, which is odd because I can remember growing up and no one wanted a mental health label or a psychological label, but now we are digging into taking them in as our own, right? I've heard people say my anxiety. You're claiming this as your own and as who you are. You do not need a label when it comes to any type of mental health concern. You just need to know what your symptoms are so that you can get to the depth and the root cause of how you're now, engaging those symptoms so that you can grow, like I said, grow, develop, and heal through those things. A label makes it as though it's weird because we'll say to people, mental health matters, and it does. And I'm so excited that everybody is on board now and really seeing that this is a part of the medical field and that your mental health concerns are deep, they're concerning, they matter, and healing is very vital. This is all true. The problem is that now everybody is speaking clinically, even though they don't know what all things mean clinically, right? So I think when we talk about diagnoses, we need to allow a clinician to discuss the diagnosis. And then the person in front of them needs to understand, yes, this is the diagnosis that I'm thinking could be the case for you, but it doesn't mean that this is who you are. Now, this is how you are labeled. You are still you. You're still Samantha, right? You are you. And now we're going to work through this pain. We're going to work through these circumstances and situations that brought you to an unhealthy space and get you to the healthy version of Samantha. You're you. You're not the diagnosis that sits in front of you. No different from a cancer patient wouldn't say, I am cancer. Why? They will tell you that they've been diagnosed or that they're battling the condition, the illness, but they're not going to label themselves as that because that's not who they are. A mental health diagnosis just helps you with understanding how life became unhealthy and what work is needed to be done to remove it. But it's not who you are. So I think more and more therapists, social workers, clinicians, we're all removing and coming away from pushing people into a label because it's being carried too much. So I would say stick with who you're with currently unless there is another reason of concern that is totally different from this one. Stick with who you are with. Try not to run from this. Challenge yourself and ask yourself, why am I concerned about the label? Why do I need that for myself, right? Especially after you've already received it. It's very understanding for individuals to want to know what is going on, right? I know that I'm not losing myself completely, but I know there is something else that is wrong, and I would like to be able to identify it. Perfect. It is identified now. Let's say it's anxiety disorder. Now you know that that's what you are struggling with. That is the concern. But that's not you. You just need to heal from whatever started it. Okay, hopefully that helps. And I hope that helps everyone. I will tell you that I am going to be the individual who consistently promotes that we do not need to label ourselves. This is not what this area of focus, this field is about. It's not about labeling someone. It's about getting you to healing. It's about getting you to growth, right? So I'm challenging you all. Maybe this is what people need to do in this new year, in 2026. Begin to focus on symptoms and signs and how to heal and grow through those things versus being stuck to a label, because you are you. Remember to email any of your mental health questions to mentallyhowareyou@gmail.com, and I will answer as I can. For our toolbox technique today, let's focus on practicing self-compassion. Self-compassion looks like treating yourself as you would treat your best friend. Allow yourself to feel emotions without judgment. Be understanding, be supportive, and offer yourself kindness while maintaining the truth, just as you would do with a friend. Dismantle your inner critic by building a truthful and supportive you. Mishaps occur. Mistakes happen. There are elements out of your control. What would you tell your friend in these situations and circumstances? You would be honest, I hope, but then you would also lead that honesty with compassion, with kindness and care. So be that way to yourself. When you come upon a challenge, when there's something that you're facing that's not so great, or that you maybe just don't see a way out of, take a moment, lean back, take a deep breath, and really speak kindly to yourself and talk yourself through it. You have to be kind to yourself in order to truly heal and grow. I want to thank you all for sitting with me on this episode of Mentally How Are You? It is, of course, my hope that you are leaving more stable than when you came in. I will see you all next Friday. Happy New Year, everybody. Bye.
No judgment, just love, so I can be me. I'm tired of hearing it's okay not to be okay. Just want the dark days to go away. Mentally, how are you? How are you? Yeah. I know it's hard, but you can get well if you want to. Mentally, how are you? Yeah. I know it's hard, but you can get well if you